on the mic. Anyway, hi. It's been a couple of days since I've last streamed, and yeah, basically, Darkfire was a linear in infiltrating the Chaos Fortress, but getting destroyed by Alyssa at the end, who turns out to be a somewhat artificial guardian of darkness. So basically very godlike being. Get very much just ask a question because at the start we're here. This is the campaign Kryn of Krenlin, which plays during Archivier's reign, but is not directly related to Conrad, Lizar and Delphador. Just as tale that is told during the time, because the narrator was looking for stories that prove that Archivier was actually not a good queen, not a legitimate one, and that Conrad and co were not basically, well, usurpers of the throne, but the actual rightful heirs. Anyway, back to the actual story. So yeah, that's a different campaign, and that's the first scenario. Right, in Dark Sea, Anya and the others that were left behind by Elenia are on the surface somewhere around the Chaos Fortress, battling hordes of Chaos forces. They also pick up Naiad, and hi Marinko, good afternoon to you too. They picked up a Naiad, they picked up some pretty cool traits for fairies, which is kinda why I have a fairy meter, a thinkable meter. And yeah, they didn't hear back from Elenia, of course. So to provide an even better distraction, they decided to move closer to the Citadel, Fortress, whatever. And now here we are for the next scenario. Interim. Scenario 8A. No objectives available. That is not entirely accurate. Of course, you do have more specific goals in mind tonight, the longest of nights and earlier. Ever since you were brought back to life by the man who once was Urias first, you have done nothing but comply with the wishes of those responsible for your prolonged lifespan. Such is the price of cheating death, you think to yourself. But the Seer told you about things to come. Things that did not make much sense to you at the time. Things you promptly disregarded as long-winded prophetic nonsense, of the kind that necessitated a very specific mindset to digest and interpret correctly. Even after over 300 years, you cannot understand half of her ramblings, and have forgotten most of the rest. Yet she sometimes does provide you with clear instructions to follow. Darkness and its association with the matters of the mind are well understood by her, as the descendant of Delphia she claims to be, and she willingly allows you to exploit that aspect and gnaw at a thick mental barrier when the situation calls for it. But instructions are all you ever find in the vast void of her thoughts. Executing commands as the machine you are is all you ever do. But you were promised a change. You have a couple of contracts to fulfill first, however. What will you do? Proceeds to the meeting chamber. And just as a note, you cannot end your turn, however you can move your leader unit around freely, ignoring its maximum movement points. So here we have Guardian of the Darkness. There is no information available about this class of beings at this time. Spectre of Darkness, including the immortality, and submerge, of course. Also biomechanical, so immune to a lot of stuff. So we moved there, but not quite yet. Facility condemned. Or actually, biomechanical engineering laboratory free. Facility condemned. No entry without permission from Lifeform research team lead Seer. There's nothing here to look at. Obviously, I can't get through there. You take a glance at the wondrous carving on the enchanted gate. It is largely lusted, and you can barely make out the details. And yet, your eyes are fixed. Perhaps you should get back to whatever you were doing. So... Yep. So, Cat Begemot pointed out that she has obscuring, even though she's a neutral unit. But yeah, the point is it's the aspect of darkness literally, so the obscuring makes sense and is not about her, but really about her status, her being. But she personally doesn't really care. So it is you. I believe you wanted to see me, my lady. That is correct. Have the preparations for my arrival on the Seer been completed yet? I believe there's a certain nuisance remaining to be eliminated. I've been awaiting your order to destroy the gatekeeper, my lady. I appreciate your obedience, but in this case I would have preferred if you did it as soon as the breach was opened. I assumed you would wait until you gathered further information on the Guardian of Water, my lady. Is he not? Yes, he is already there. But he is not cognizant of our schemes, is he? His people never noticed the supplies and equipment we stole from their world, so I am free to advance my plans while they are preoccupied with other matters. Do not forget that I need to find the missing piece of that damn puzzle. The body. Will you please stop wasting everyone's time and destroy that hideous thing at once? And once you are done, come back to me. Yes, as you command, my lady. You guess it cannot be helped. Things are going to get more complicated than you wanted. As usual. These security measures are inconvenient at times. If that stupid fairy and their accomplices did not have access to teleport spells, you would be able to instantly go to the breach site and deal with your target. But it cannot be helped. The transport glyph awaits. You really hope to not stumble upon any undesirable vermin along the way. And, of course, you're not too concerned about it. Proceed to the transport glyph. So, and while I was reading it out, Marion pointed out that Elinia had illuminates even though she was neutral. So yeah, there's that. So, time. Actually, can I activate this? Can I trigger? No. Your mission now is to slay the gatekeeper. Bothering Uri again before you are done would be absurdly reckless. Fair point. Wait. Oh damn, I think this was the face. I Descara Shadow. The mother. The fist. The shadow. So those are basically for places for people to contact. Oh, okay, this is the Seer. Mary and Cat Begemot pointed out. Thanks for that. So the Seer. Oh, okay. Look, it is Uria's little pet. Isn't she adorable? You're obstructing the way. Get out. As you wish. So yeah, that went well. So anyway, the Seer, the Mother, the Fist, and the Shadow. The Seer is obviously the one Alicia talked about just a moment ago. The Mother is of course Ureta. The Fist is Zangar, and the Shadow, I do not actually know. Possibly it would have been Malhekuba or Malseer, or... No, I do not actually know. So I can't interact with them. That's a shame. Nothing down here either. Either. Okay, so there's an abomination. Not really interested though. So Cat Begemot apparently checked out the scenario files about who the Shadow is, and I would like you to, well, not to tell anyone, not me included, not anyone in the stream either. Just an old crate. There's nothing of value in it. Just checking out the places. Oops. Oh, I see. Look, it's a ring. It's obviously gonna be a very important item. An old rusted ring with no special powers whatsoever. It is absolutely useless to you. Well, so much for that. The unnatural air in this place makes me feel uneasy. On the other side of the breach, the gatekeeper on Athia awaits. Ooh, that looks nice. There's no going back now. There is no going back now. Have you forgotten who you are? Are you deceiving yourself? Who are you? Who are you? I asked the question first. I was told gatekeepers are not sentient creatures. You let yourself be deceived by appearances in spite of the aspect you control. Why is that? As a child of Uria and heiress to Merfril you are, you harbor great potential. You are mistaken. I am neither thing. Are you not human? All humans everywhere are children of Uria. I am not human. Not anymore. The half of Merfril lies within you as designed, but it does not change your true self. Okay, wait, I gotta... just a moment. This is important. I was not destined by the tree to inherit darkness. But it's irrelevant either way. I have transcended the definition of a human and become something different. Have you? What does your heart tell you? My heart? The path of darkness is a convoluted and deceptive one. Whereas your predecessor placed an excessive emphasis on her feelings to the detriment of her rationality, you are doing the exact opposite. A true guardian of light or darkness needs to establish a balance between both facets. You, however, you've allowed others to distort your identity. Uria's corrupting influence is hampering your personal growth and tearing your being apart, just as she wants. Tearing souls apart is what the corrupt and guardian of life does best. But can you escape her influence? Can you escape her destructive grasp? Before she utterly destroys your soul and seizes darkness through your empty shell? Grind the soul to stone, turn the memories to dust, erase the spirit, shed the hollow shell! Ooh. Damn you, Zangor. Damn you and your stinking lies. Of course, she was not counting on the spell Uriah taught you for the mission. Or was she? You have not felt so stupid in a long time. Zangor's ruse was simply too obvious to fall for. Uriah would not have asked you to destroy the gatekeeper yourself if she did not fear her for some reason. Perhaps if she had such an introspective conversation with the gatekeeper, things would have changed to some degree. Perhaps. But no. You are well familiarized with the demoness and their childlike stubbornness. Whatever advice the gatekeeper might have had for her would have gone unheeded. That is, assuming Uriah would have given her a chance to speak in the first place. Maybe you were too hasty in disposing of the creature, though. She seemed to be genuinely trying to help you for some reason. The illusion she cast on you seemed as real as it was intensely painful. Not that you are unaccustomed to pain it yourself, but you admit that you were afraid for a moment. Regardless of the intentions of the Leafier's offspring, she managed to stir up uncomfortable thoughts in your mind with her meddling. You decide to sweep them aside, if only for a brief interval while you go to report back to your oppressive overseer. Report to Uriah in the meeting chamber again. So, let's answer a couple of questions that were asked. So Cat Begemot was like, where's the portrait for Alinia in the gatekeeper sequence? Shikedi, like, and then Iris the R4 turned up in the stream as well and said that not having a portrait during that sequence is completely intentional. And my own musings to that is, like, if you've paid attention, the sprite of Alyssa herself changed during that sequence. And therefore the portrait would not have been as accurate. Or would have not been accurate. Yeah, Iris basically said literally the same just now. No, that's Iris, when you're here right now, I want to say the screenshot I made is that the sprite in her dialogue is not the same as the sprite Alyssa has at the moment of the dialogue, and that's what I'm reporting, and that's my question if that's intentional. So, and also okay, and Catbergamot had another question about the text we read here. Like, Alyssa said she fell for Zangor's rules, and his question was, okay, so in that case I kind of have to write it down. Let me answer the question first, and then Iris just said that she can't hear the stream, so I have to write down my question. Catbergamot was saying what's Zangor's rules. Zangor is the only one Alyssa knows beyond Uriah that ever had contact to a gatekeeper. If I remember correctly, Zangor did something to a gatekeeper which made him, on the other hand, gain great powers. So he's the one who has any information about them. And Alyssa thought that gatekeepers are not sentient creatures, that they are extremely powerful but not an active danger. Which obviously turned out to be a lie. And that was Zangor's rules. He basically set her up there for destruction. If she had not managed to use that spell against the gatekeeper, she would probably have been destroyed. And now let's answer the question. Offer and... Okay... Okay. Now I can forge on. Hey, did you have fun down there? Not really. There was only one gatekeeper, and I was prepared to perform many more soulbind spells tonight. That seems rather wasteful and improbable. Lord Zangor said you needed Uria's help to cast those. Zangor, you say? Ah, I see. Good to know it was he who sent you here, but I fear you have been misinformed about the power I wield. Regardless, I have to wonder, why here, in my domain? Lord Zangor wanted us to keep you in check, naturally. There are various disturbing rumors running around surrounding your habits and plans, you see. Some say you like in waiting to dine in your cell. They say that you invite humans and demons to invite the succulent flesh when they are hungry. I can see why some of you might believe such a thing. But trust me, I'm not the one who revels in chaos, destruction, and depravity. Perhaps you should be watching him instead. Nonetheless, I absolutely detest your obnoxious laugh, girl. Ooh. You grab the crystal orb containing the soul of your nameless victim and fling it against the wall, shattering it. The irregular shards are scattered over the floor. At least, you believe she did not have a name. The leader seems quite impressed by your little demonstration and orders his minions to pick up the shards. Hopefully he will choose to leave you alone, you think. That spell is quite physically and mentally taxing, and displaying weakness before Zangor's minions would not be a good idea. Lord Zangor will hear of this. Oh, excellent! However should I express my gratitude? I was actually worried for a moment that I would have to send him the shards all by myself, wasting Uria's invaluable time by making her wait much longer for my report. Please, do send him my regards. Whew. She has no patience for any of this shit. Okay, let's report to Uria. Actually, can I trigger this? Nope. Oh, this is not good. The gatekeeper of the fear is no more lamp, my lady. The breach from over there is now clear for you to cross. I see. Well done, my fire. Your success pleases me greatly. I have a question for you. Yes, my lady? Lord Zangor informed me earlier of a revolt organized by the Stormkin Witch. But from what he said, I gather that the once blessed fairy is directly involved as well. What do you know about this? The fairy was supposed to lead the Irdian troops from the north, but abandoned her duty on the surface before their arrival. She made it to a ruined training chamber and confronted me. Yes. Everyone had been looking forward to that confrontation ever since it was foretold by the Seer. It was an inevitability. Well, I assume you made up ideally for her meddling. Is she... I killed her just as you wished, my lady. Hekuba's necrophages took care of the rest for me. I would have loved to represent her with your corpse, but it appears that our decrepit traitor still managed to interfere even after his soul ceased to exist. A pity too, since I really liked her hair. No! I would not tolerate you screwing the scalp of that wretched creature anywhere near me. Not to mention that some of your followers could get the wrong idea. Do you not think we have enough already with Gear's betrayal? A moment. My apologies, lady. My lady. Moving on. Yes, my lady? I've transferred Urias' control to Lord Zanger. You are relieved from your duty as my fire. My lady? I refuse to acknowledge your reaction as one of surprise, Alyssa. Did you truly think I would ask you to land in a bulk of Triad's troops without an ulterior reason? This is all part of a plan that is now mostly irrelevant to you. Your duty now is to serve him just as you have served me all these years. But you promised that Erdia would be under my control soon. Zanger would assist you on Seer. You ought to watch your tone, girl. Do not forget that I can end your life and destroy your soul at any time I please. If you want the ball of dirt you called earlier, you will have to strike a bargain with any Neo Lord. Do you understand? I understand, my lady. Excellent, then. I am sure Zanger will be as pleased as I to count on your assistance with exterminating the vermin brought by the fairy. We will meet in the future, perhaps. That damned shapeshifter scum should have stayed half dead in that putrid pit. Stupid Uri and the irritating obsession with that bastard. You can only wonder what other machinations they have been brewing behind your back. This unexpected development changes many things. Your plan needs some urgent adjustments before these two perform the next move. Time to check on your pivotal piece in the ruined laboratory. Maybe you should try to remember a few things along the way. Open some of those rusty gates in your memory and look inside. You just know you will need all the hints you can gather from the stronghold for your next course of action. So, enter the ruined laboratory and a couple of doors have opened. Oops. Oh. Right, because I moved during the dialogue, it automatically continued to move afterwards. So let me just write something down. And let's keep going. So, touch plate triggered. A road rises from the depths. So yeah, this is obviously not accessible before I move there. Oh, this kind of looks nice, like I remember how this looked previously, and this is certainly an improvement. Let's scout around a bit more first. So yeah, we checked it. Okay, then let's read this lore. This is gonna be a lot to read, so give me a moment to drink something first. Darkness. Unlike the majority of the aspects constituting reality, darkness and light are derived from the nature of the first gods themselves, stemming from existence, and connected to life in a structural role. Just like darkness precedes and succeeds light from a physical standpoint, it also deals with matters of the mind, whereas light deals with the soul of every being born under the tree of life. However, just as both aspects complement each other, they may also exchange places according to the circumstances. Mashiel, the Guardian of Darkness on Raphid, was the last Guardian to be born during the first cycle, and at the same time she was the first Guardian to perish. Although the aroused conflict had not yet begun, He did have an indirect role in causing Marshall's downfall. The young Guardian's emotions clouded her reason. Jealousy consumed her heart from inside as she watched the greatest predilections for her sisters Uriah and... for a moment... I'm just gonna look up how the name is actually being pronounced, because I keep messing this up. Oh, come on. Like, worst case, I'm just gonna keep pronouncing... Ah, okay. The creator's predilection for her sisters, Uriah and Shael. In a desperate attempt to prove her worth to Yara and even surpass his own power, the girl subverted her world seed and tried to absorb its energy for herself. Alas, even though their bond was always one and the same, the Guardian and the Seed of Darkness were never meant to become one. Not having learned her own song beforehand, Merthiel could not assume full control of her new powers. Instead of becoming the true goddess she desired to be, the very aspect she controlled was destroyed. Her mind succumbed to insanity as her horrifying new body absorbed the souls of each and every one of her fellow Raphidians. Uriah put an end to Merthiel's rampage by ripping her heart out, destroying her body, and sealing herself in the hope that Yara could do something to remedy the situation. However, Yara was offended by the proposition. He refused to help with the resurrection of healing, choosing instead to preserve the lifeless world intact as a testament to his child's hubris. That incarnation of Uriah would never be able to bring Merthiel back to life, and the Guardian of Darkness would come to be known as the Eater of Souls, the antithesis of the Guardian of Light. Now, lacking his distinct seed, Raphid would not be restored at the end of the first cycle, remaining instead a graveyard world per Yara's wishes. So, next one, and something to drink. The original 10. Life. The force that governs the birth of all creatures in our reality. Incarnated by the Guardian of Life, also known as Uriah, Guardian of the Legacy and the Void, Mistress of the Void, Goddess of Life. Water. The element common to the origins of all life in our reality, as well as its sustainment and destruction. Incarnated by the Guardian of Water, also known as Alia, Guardian of Water and Destruction, the Beast, God of War. Thunder, the spark that keeps life in motion. The arbiter in a chaotic reality doomed to an inferior eternity of strife. Incarnated by the Guardian of Thunder, also known as Ka'arul, Guardian of Thunder, Harbinger of Judgment, and God of Storms. Okay? Okay. Our Earth, the shelter that harbors the promise of life, the energy that kindles the mystic in a dying reality. Incarnated by the Guardian of Earth, also known as Shal, Guardian of the arcane flame and Earth, Goddess of the Forest, Protector of Peace. Fire, the aspect that fuels life through love, the flame that sustains the forge of knowledge in a reality where ignorance has ensnared its hopeless dwellers. Incarnated by the Guardian of Fire, also known as Shadier, Guardian of Fire and Knowledge, the Fire of Hope, Goddess of Love. Darkness, the aspect of the free will necessary for life to progress, the precursor and successor of light in a reality devoid of ultimate intent. Incarnated by the Guardian of Darkness, also known as Marshall, Guardian of Darkness and Shadows, Eater of Souls, Goddess of Free Will. Light, the aspect of the constancy from which life springs, the successor and precursor of darkness in a reality unprepared for its end. Incarnated by the Guardian of Life, also known as Lucifer, Guardian of Light and Metal, Star of the Morning, Healer of Souls. Air, the aspect of the kiss that insufflates life, the breath that preserved life in a decaying reality. Incarnated by the Guardian of Air, also known as Kasif, Guardian of Air and Breath, Lady of the Skies, Messenger of the Ether. Ice, this aspect that is the cold touch that ends life, the substance that holds treasures for those daring to explore the confines of a shrinking reality. Incarnated by the Guardian of Ice, also known as Yukiria, Guardian of Ice and Mirrors, Queen of the Wide Expanse, Keeper of Death. Existence, the aspect that binds all life together, the empty canvas from which a corrupted reality was created. Incarnated by the Guardian of Existence, also known as the Leafier, Guardian of Secrets and Time, the Faceless Woman, Seer of the Tree. And the next one, more to drink. Ooh, that's a lot of lore. Earth. The aspect of Earth is one of 4 aspects directly connected to life in a supporting role, paving the way for creation. All fairy-kind creatures are created in the image of the first Guardian of Earth, who was charged with the task of ruling over Earthia during the first cycle. Some sources claim that fairy-kind beings were originally incorporeal and extremely rare until the ascension of the first incarnation of Shahil, a woman said to have been created out of golden dust by Uriah himself, the protector of the tree. His influence might have brought her kind a boon of a more physical existence in greater numbers, albeit losing their immortality in the process. Various versions of the myth exist, some of them claiming the child's form was a favor granted by Uriah after he fell in love with the creature. Her next incarnation came into existence on a world other than Iria, due to unknown reasons. Life. The aspect of life deals primarily with the creation and sustainment of life, as well as the very essence of being in all its manifestation. All non-fairy human and human-like creatures were created in the image of the first Guardian of Life, who governed over fear during the first cycle. This incarnation of Uriah would prove to be essential for defeating the corrupted protector of the tree by orchestrating the demise of Uriah's allies, at a cost of countless innocent lives everywhere. Her next incarnation came into existence on a world other than the fear, due to unknown reasons. So let's forge ahead and enter the laboratory. A particularly irksome disadvantage of living forever is that you very easily forget things that happened over a century ago if you do not take care to exercise your memory regularly. You are worried this will become even harder over time, assuming you will last long enough for that. While you prepare your next move, you decide to refresh your memory about some things. You make an effort to remember. It is him, the tortured man to whom you owe your life, even though you did not ask for it. The scene feels familiar to you. But you're not completely sure yet how long ago it happened. You have not visited me in a long time. What brings you here? Do I really need a reason? Uriah is busy unearthing some ruins on an overture. She will not notice my absence. I just wanted to see you. I have to admit that I expected a warmer reception. I suppose it's hard to be enthusiastic about a visit from someone who's only spoken to me through crystal projections for over a century. It almost feels as though we are strangers, meeting for the first time. Does it now? I missed you. I really, really did. But I see. How have things been around here? Any progress? With no harmers around, I haven't been able to continue with my search. But I went to Goromdul the other day and asked the Seer about her and not the fairy, the hive in the Grandma region. I believe its construction should be nearly finished by now. Did you come here just to ask me about such banal matters? Or because you wanted to see me? Do I have to choose between those two options? I did not expect you to be so demanding of your superiors, girl. Superiors, you say? I do not have all the time in the world for your empty questions. Will you answer? Uriah sent you, didn't she? She sent you to keep track of my activities, as if I needed another shadow of hers around here. But of course. Shadow really suits you better than it does. That brainless brute. Except most of the scum in this place prefers to add master to it for some stupid reason. You seem agitated. Dealing with your personality issues was exasperating enough back then. I will not be talking to you now that you have become a puppet of that abusive monster. Get out. Alyssa! Get out! For long you have tried to purge your memories revolving against the center of insanity and the eventual fulfillment of his end of the bargain with Uriah. Alice, nozzle and technology around the time you were resurrected was not advanced enough to do that kind of thing. And you're sort of stuck in the past in that regard. Maybe someday you will learn to do the advanced mind tricks Murphy could, and use that power to alter or clear your own memory. Surely, if you manage to do that, you could attain absolute control of every single creature on Earth. You decide to proceed further into the ruined laboratory and try to reminisce on better times. So proceed further, and they are pretty much dead. So, and with this piece of memory, we can also say who the shadow is. It's Narhamov. I have no idea why the hell they would call him Shadow, but apparently Narhamov has the sort of name Shadow. Don't ask me why. Some of the hive creatures have adopted these ruins as their home. You do not really mind them, since they are completely harmless around those whom they recognize as their own kind, by virtue of the identification signal mechanism. You are absolutely certain that, unlike the gatekeeper you just destroyed, these artificial constructs have no soul of their own. Whether they have minds or not is a completely different matter, though. Alyssa, there's something I need to know. I thought I told you to go away. I am not interested in helping you anymore. I need your help. Please. You are the only one I could ever trust who can use the powers of darkness to block the Seer's vision. I need to find my wife. Why did you not try to find her before surrendering your fury to Uriah? If you truly loved the Lady of Light, the first thing you should have done was... I already told you. I did not choose to be stranded on Overture for so long. Uriah does not want me to find Alinea yet. I am worried that your plans could jeopardize your own safety. You must do something for me. If you find Alinea, you must kill her. Why? Because it's something you must do. That is what I was told by the voice. You are in even worse shape than I thought. I simply cannot fathom what is going through Uriah's mind as of late. Why would she trust you with the command of the Empire like this? No, listen. You can consult with Seer later. I'm sure she knows of the voice as well, but she has always refused to speak with me. I have a suspicion about that voice. Does Uriah need to know? No. Very well then. I hope the Seer will not inform her about this, though. I do not think she has found out about your search yet. Has she? You know the Seer is as much as your ally as she's Uriah's. She does not take sides. She will not betray you. But not specifically because of your affiliation with darkness. If that were all it took to communicate with her, I would not need your help for that. Many years later, Agan's orders would take a turn for the worse, and you would happily comply with every single one. You do not really regret it in the least. Killing lesser creatures is amazingly comforting after all you have been through. If only you could do that with your own underlings more often. Wait, you mean Zangor's underlings now? You are quite sure he would not actually mind. On the other hand, you were allowed to do so as you pleased with your torturers back in the day. If only you had the control you have now over your artificially enhanced body and Murphy's heart. If only you could ravage people's mind like the true Eater of Souls could. If only. Proceed into the ruined room. So let's check out the place a bit. Nothing here, nothing there, nothing everywhere. Nope, doesn't trigger anything. Then let's see what I can find down here. Subject 0044A containment chamber. No entry without level 6 permission from Malzagan. The chest is empty. It has been decades since the last time anyone used it to deliver parcels to you. Okay, I can't do anything there right now. So, operation room. Facility condemned. No entry without level 4 permission from the Iron Council. Fine. This is where Agan brought you back to life. Or what remains of the place in any case. You really threw a tantrum that night, blinded by the great pain caused by the energy seeping through your veins, and that unfathomable presence within Marshall's head reaching into your soul. You're not entirely sure whether the pain ceased, or you just became accustomed to it over the years, but you can still feel the presence on occasion. Namely, whenever you feel tempted to fully unleash your frustration and anger. The cause and risk of being a predestined guardian have not been properly documented, but everyone agrees that it is the temptation of power that finally got the best of the goddess whose legacy Agan and Uriah bestowed upon you. But your case is an unprecedented one, and you have had to cope with other difficulties along the way. The technology that binds your body and soul with Martial's heart was considered highly experimental on its world of origin, and every test subject was destroyed without exception. Maybe it was because the heart they chose for their testing was that of an unborn goddess, as opposed to a deceased one. Maybe it was because the aspect of fire itself did not choose them. Or maybe those individuals simply lacked the resolve, and the initial excruciating pain was too much for their feeble psyches. Whichever the case, you are certain that even though cheating the system devised by Uriah was a strain on arduous task, the aspect of darkness is now yours to control. So what I would like to point out there is that she basically is saying that she was blessed by the aspect of fire. And just a throwback to before we met Ikir, when we had to deal with those ancient leeches in the cave system, when they said only he, his brother, and a child with bright red hair blessed by the aspect of fire survived. And I think we found that child. And she's still alive. If the once Lady of Light had not killed him, Agan would be proud to see her execute his plans like clockwork. Proud. Nothing more than that, really. If you were to use the Golden Age literature as reference, you would say he always regarded you as a daughter. His increasing lack of empathy did not allow him to see that you had feelings of a different kind for him. While that truly bothered you in the beginning, you would soon learn of another cost of being a guardian. To put it into perspective, of all the guardians that have lived so far, only the second incarnation of the Guardian of Fire found true love. And then she died under mysterious circumstances. Those unrequited feelings of yours vanished long ago, but it does not change the fact that you owe your life to Agan, and that you will do everything within your power for him, even now that he is gone for good. It feels as though you have been wasting your time with this pointless info perspective for months, even though it has obviously been just an hour. Damn the gatekeeper and the seer. Things would be much easier if you could just focus on commanding troops and killing opponents with complete disregard for ancient riddles and the absurd notion of fate. Proceed into Alyssa's cell. So let's check this place out. Nothing of interest here. Okay, let's keep going. So basically the subject 00444A was Alyssa back then, or so I assume. Candiara is still here as you left her. The fairy destroyed her body near the entrance to the abandoned Iron Council chamber. If you were to give the necromants a new chance, you would have to give her a new body as well. She was rather entertaining to have around, but not particularly bright, and Harmorth was abusing that to keep you under constant surveillance. You simply had to act before Zango had a chance to take advantage of her as well. You have not really spent as much time in the cell as you would if you were an ordinary creature. Thankfully, your body allows you to spend an indefinite amount of time without rest. You have tried sleeping on occasion, but ever since you were captured by the human scum in the capital, you have only had variations of the same recurring nightmares. You hoped your new life would allow you to have normal dreams again, but it has only been worse since then. You think it is finally time to go and put those plans in motion. You glance at your cell a last time, make sure you are not forgetting anything before leaving. Surely none of that trash on the floor is of any use to you. Find a touch plate leading to the final room. Let's first of all look, there's a touch plate. Anyway, but while she's not really interested in the stuff she's leaving around, we are. Somewhat. This is an old poetry book you found amongst some ruins unearthed in the Silverlands. You used to dedicate your life to collecting every single piece of history you could salvage from the many remains of the Golden Age civilizations. But after becoming a hybrid being, your interests changed dramatically. Things like poetry became pointless, as they do not contribute to your plans in any way whatsoever, and yet this book is still here. Do you want to pick this book up? Sure. You take the book. A few loose pages slide onto the floor, and you pick them up. Of course. These are the pages you took from Argan's journal some time after he became irreversible incoherent. Your makeshift bed table. There's nothing remarkable about it. This broken slab of rock used to be your bed. Last time you slept on it, you had a little accident due to your nightmares. It did not make for the most comfortable sleeping surface in the first place, but now you are pretty sure it would be greatly unadvisable for you to spend any significant amount lying on it. Not that your back would resent it enough to suffer any kind of permanent injury anyway. Your ability to regenerate biological parts of your parts is pretty intentionally limited compared to a naturally born guardian, but you are still far sturdier than your pitiful victim here, thanks to the various enhancements they made to your body. You suppose there are some advantages to having been disemboweled and implanted with an unnatural power source after all. So, Cat Begemon just pointed out that this might be missing an off, and I'm just wondering if it might work like the way it is. Any significant amount of time. Yeah, I think I agree with you, there's probably an off missing, and anyway I can just forward the thing and ask. Okay. So, can Ya's ward against necromantic spells? Very useful against mundane enemy necromancers. Absolutely useless against magic unleashed from a guardian of life. Such a shame. Just trash that has been lying around for ages. You're not going to touch it. Who knows what kind of creatures have decided to make it their home. Kenyaru seems much brighter now than she did in life. You would take the poor woman with you, but it is probably safer here. Presumably nobody will ever find her, and you will never have to worry about her deciding to wreak revenge on you for sweeping her out of the way like that. She is just going to spend an eternity here being even more useless than usual, assuming the place does not collapse first. This is not a troubling notion in the least, you tell yourself. So Cat Begemot was just pointing out that she's not gonna touch it because who knows what creatures made their home in there. Is also a perfect excuse for not cleaning your room. But in all seriousness, only if you really don't care about living inside there. Once you enter that room, there will be no going back. Are you sure you want to proceed now? And yes, I do, we've checked out everything. Touchblade triggered. A wall moves. This is all your fault, Agan. I shouldn't have been the one to deal with this. And that's the scenario. That was one lengthy story. We have enough Okay. Anyway, are there any questions before yeah, I stop the stream, because that was the scenario and I'm not gonna put another one afterwards. So if you've got any questions, now would be the time. So Catbergamot was asking why I guess that Narhamov is the shadow. So when we went into that laboratory, the first memory when Agan was asking her about the Shaxel hive in some region, she said at some point that he's now like more a shadow, that the name shadow fits him. No, first of all she said that because Narhamov being around, she is not able to get the search done for Elenia. And then later on she said that Argen is now more like a shadow of himself, or something around that, and that the word shadow fits him far better than the brain-dead brute. And now we just have to wonder which kind of no, who of the really huge leaders of the Chaos Forces is literally dump, a brute, brain dead, anything like that. And really there's only Narhamov as an option. Like the others were the Seer, very important, the Mother Uria, very important, the Fist, which is Zangur, also extremely important, and there's the Shadow. Narhamov is an incompetent demon lord that is, well, a brute, he's brain dead, and he has all the trust of Uria, literally all of it. So it would make sense that he's also one of those who can be contacted. And Catbergamot, you were the one that read the scenario files and figured out who's the shadow from that. So now would be a good time to say if my deduction is correct, or if there's actually something different written in the scenario files. And if there's something different, I would like you not to tell me what it is. Okay, I'm correct, that's great. In this case, since the other people say they have no questions, I think it's a good place to just end. Actually, did I? Yep, I got it right. So yeah, see you next time, which should be tomorrow if nothing unforeseen happens. See you!